What if I told you that men test women, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity, that every look, every hesitation, every challenge is a quiet question. Are you strong enough? Are you real? Fail this test and the consequences are brutal. Pass it and you unlock something rare, genuine respect, devotion, and admiration. Men don't just date women, they evaluate them. Not with a checklist, but with instinct. They're searching for something deeper, someone who can stand beside them, not just when it's easy, but when life gets hard. These tests aren't mind games. They're unconscious ways of identifying a woman's character. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how men test women and how you can pass every time. A man will test your emotional control, not because he wants to hurt you, but because he needs to know how you handle pressure. Life is unpredictable, challenges will come, stress will build, and at some point, the emotional weight of existence will crash. Men instinctively seek a partner who can withstand the storm, not be consumed by it. This isn't about being emotionless. It's about being resilient. Many women misunderstand this test. They assume that a man provoking an emotional reaction is a form of manipulation or cruelty. But in reality, it's a subconscious way of determining whether you are someone who can handle life or if you will crumble under pressure. If every small inconvenience, disagreement, or unexpected change sends you into an emotional meltdown, it signals that you lack control over yourself. And a man who is building something in life, a career, a future, a family, knows that chaos in a partner leads to instability in everything. Think about it this way. A man needs to trust that when things get hard, you won't fall apart. He needs to know that if he is going through something stressful, losing a job, struggling with a personal crisis, or dealing with the inevitable difficulties of life, you won't make it worse by adding emotional chaos. He watches how you handle criticism, how you respond to frustration, and whether your emotions are in check or controlling you. This is why some men will tease you, push a boundary slightly, or even remain silent when you expect a reaction. They want to see. Do you get defensive? Do you lash out? Do you let your emotions dictate your response? Now, let's be clear. This isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending to be unaffected by everything. That's not strength. That's avoidance. The true power lies in emotional maturity. It means acknowledging your emotions, but choosing how to express them in a way that maintains control. If you're upset, do you communicate calmly, or do you let your emotions explode without restraint? If something frustrates you, do you handle it with grace, or do you let it poison your mood and the mood of those around you? A high-value man respects a woman who can regulate her emotions because he knows the power of discipline himself. A man who has built something in life, who has faced hardship and overcome it, understands that emotions must be managed, not surrendered to. He doesn't expect you to be emotionless. He expects you to be self-possessed. The women who fail this test are the ones who let their emotions run unchecked. They become volatile, unpredictable, and exhausting to be around. Men may tolerate it for a time, but in the long run, they will pull away. A woman who cannot control her emotions becomes a liability, not an asset. The women who pass this test, however, become indispensable. A woman can stand firm in emotional storms, who can express herself with clarity instead of chaos, earns a man's deepest respect. She becomes the woman he can rely on. She becomes the calm in his storm. And that kind of woman, that's the one a man will fight to keep. A man will test your self-respect, not to be cruel, but to understand how much value you place on yourself. This test is not always deliberate. It often happens subconsciously. Men instinctively push small boundaries, make offhand comments, or behave in ways that gauge whether you tolerate disrespect or if you set firm standards for how you expect to be treated. Why? Because if you don't respect yourself, he won't either. Self-respect is the foundation of any healthy relationship. A woman with self-respect has clear boundaries, knows her worth, and does not seek validation at the expense of her dignity. She does not allow herself to be walked over, manipulated, or taken for granted. And men sense this. They observe how you react when they test you. Whether you stand up for yourself or whether you let things slide in fear of losing them. This test can take many forms. It might be a man showing up late to plans, seeing how you respond when he doesn't follow through on a promise, or subtly dismissing your opinions in a conversation. Does he get a free pass every time? Do you excuse his behavior because you don't want to seem too demanding? Or do you assert yourself calmly and confidently, making it clear that you expect basic respect? A high-value man is not looking for a woman who tolerates anything just to keep him around. He's looking for a woman with a backbone, someone who respects herself enough to demand the same from others. And here's the truth. When you do stand up for yourself, you gain his respect. Men are naturally drawn to women who know their worth because it signals strength and certainty. It tells him that you will not settle for being treated as anything less than you deserve. But many women fail this test because they fear that setting boundaries will push a man away. They think if I say no, if I call him out on something, he'll lose interest. But the opposite is true. A man loses interest when he realizes you don't value yourself enough to demand respect. I don't moment, you allow disrespect and do nothing. You send a message, I don't believe I deserve better. And once a man sees that, he stops viewing you as someone of high value. On the other hand, the women who pass this test stand firm in their worth. They communicate their expectations without being aggressive or hostile. They don't beg for respect. They expect it, and they are willing to walk away if they don't receive it. That kind of confidence is magnetic. It forces a man to step up and meet your standards or risk losing you. And a high-value man, he won't want to lose you. A man does not respect a woman who constantly pleases, accommodates, and tolerates. He respects the woman who knows who she is, sets clear boundaries, and enforces them. Because in the end, the way you treat yourself teaches a man exactly how to treat you. A man will test your independence, not because he doesn't want to take care of you, but because he needs to know that you can stand on your own. Men respect strength. They admire a woman who has her own passions, her own direction, and her own identity outside of the relationship. A man wants to be wanted, not needed in a way that drains him. If he senses that your entire sense of self revolves around him, it signals dependency, and dependency is a burden, not an asset. This test often happens in subtle ways. A man might observe how you spend your time when he's not around. Do you have your own interests? Do you pursue your own goals? Or do you drop everything the moment he gives you attention? A high-value man notices when a woman's world starts to shrink, when she slowly stops focusing on her ambitions and instead places all her energy on him. And when that happens, he pulls away, not because he doesn't care, but because deep down, men are wired to be drawn to strong women. Women who have something going on in their lives beyond the relationship. Think about it this way. A man who is ambitious, who is building something in his life, respects someone who is doing the same. If he's driven, he wants a partner who is equally driven. If he's passionate about his work, he wants someone who has her own passions too. He wants a woman who chooses to be with him, not one who needs him to feel whole. Because the truth is, a relationship should be a partnership, not a rescue mission. Some women fail this test without even realizing it. They become overly available, constantly seeking validation from their partner, waiting for his texts, adjusting their schedules around his life. They think they're showing love, but what they're really doing is signaling lack of independence. A woman who loses herself in a relationship, who sacrifices her individuality for the sake of keeping a man's attention, slowly becomes less attractive to him. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about genuinely having a life that excites you, regardless of whether he's in it or not. On the other hand, the women who pass this test remain firmly rooted in their own purpose. They enjoy their time with their man, but they don't abandon their own identity for him. They continue to grow, to pursue their goals, to maintain their friendships and hobbies. And this creates polarity. It makes the relationship dynamic and exciting because the man sees her as someone he can respect, someone who brings value to his life, not someone who simply clings to it. A strong woman is not one who rejects love or avoids relationships. A strong woman is one who enters a relationship as a whole person. She doesn't need a man to complete her, but she chooses to be with one because she respects and admires him. And when a man sees that kind of woman, he doesn't just desire her. He values her. He commits to her not because she depends on him, but because she inspires him. A man will test your loyalty, not when everything is easy and comfortable, but when things become difficult. Loyalty is not proven in moments of happiness. It is revealed in moments of hardship. A man wants to know that if he faces setbacks, if life becomes uncertain, if he struggles, you will stand by him rather than abandon him when it is no longer convenient. This test is not about blind devotion, but about true commitment, the kind that endures beyond temporary circumstances. Men are wired to seek stability in a partner. While physical attraction may draw him in initially, it is loyalty that determines whether he sees you as a long-term partner. He knows that in life, there will be moments of failure, financial struggles, personal crises, or even times when his confidence is shaken. And during these times, a man will subconsciously watch how you respond. Do you start doubting him? Do you withdraw your support? Do you criticize him when he's already at his lowest, or do you stand firm, encouraging him to rise again? This is why some men will test a woman's loyalty before fully committing. It may not always be intentional, but they instinctively observe how a woman reacts to stress, uncertainty, or temporary failures. A man might share his struggles with you, not just to vent, but to see if you truly have his back. If he's dealing with financial hardship, does your attitude toward him change? If he's uncertain about his future, do you belittle him or do you remind him of his potential? These moments reveal everything about your character and whether you are someone he can trust when life gets tough. Some women fail this test without realizing it. They are supportive only when things are going well, but the moment a man faces hardship, they become impatient, critical, or distant. They may compare him to other men who seem more successful, at the moment making him feel inadequate instead of encouraged. They may express frustration, making him feel as though he is not enough unless he is constantly winning. This type of reaction breaks trust and makes a man feel alone, even within the relationship. But the women who pass this test, the ones who prove their loyalty under pressure, become irreplaceable. A woman who stands by her man, who encourages him when he doubts himself, who believes in his potential even when he's struggling, earns a level of devotion that cannot be easily shaken. Men do not forget the women who were loyal to them when they had nothing. And when that man rebuilds, when he regains his strength and rises again, he will never forget who stood by him. Loyalty does not mean tolerating disrespect or staying in an unhealthy situation. It means showing unwavering support for a man who is genuinely trying, who is facing hardship but still fighting. It means believing in his vision even when the world doubts him. It means understanding that temporary struggle does not define a person's worth. A man who sees that kind of loyalty in a woman will move mountains for her. Because in a world full of fleeting connections and conditional relationships, a loyal woman is rare. And what is rare is precious. A man will test your balance between femininity and strength, not because he wants to control you, but because he is drawn to a woman who embodies both grace and resilience. Men are instinctively wired to seek polarity in relationships, just as masculinity is defined by leadership, assertiveness, and drive. Femininity is defined by grace, emotional intelligence, and nurturing energy. However, true femininity is not weakness. It is a combination of softness and inner strength, one that commands deep respect rather than submission. Many women misunderstand what men truly want. Some believe they must be overly aggressive, independent, to the point of rejecting any form of emotional connection, as if needing a man makes them weak. Others believe they must be entirely submissive, avoiding confrontation, never speaking their minds, and sacrificing their own needs just to keep a man happy. Both extremes fail the test. A man is not looking for a woman who is either completely dominant or entirely passive. He is looking for a woman who can stand strong without losing her feminine grace. This test often plays out in how you handle conflict and challenges. A man might observe how you respond when things don't go your way. Do you become hostile, combative, and emotionally explosive, trying to dominate him through aggression? Or do you shut down completely, avoiding confrontation and suppressing your true feelings? Neither approach fosters respect. The women who pass this test are those who know how to express their emotions with both honesty and composure. They do not need to raise their voices to be heard. They do not need to become cold and distant to show strength. They speak with confidence but maintain their warmth. Another way to test this balance is by seeing how you handle independence. A strong woman does not need a man to survive, but a truly feminine woman allows herself to be supported and cherished. Some women believe they must prove their strength by rejecting all forms of male leadership and protection. But this backfires. Men do not respect a woman who sees them as useless or unnecessary. The key is not to depend on a man for your self-worth, but also not to push him away when he wants to provide and protect. The most attractive women are those who appreciate a man's masculine energy without losing their own sense of identity. Many women fail this test because they misunderstand the true power of femininity. They believe it means submission or weakness, when in reality it is the ultimate form of strength. A truly feminine woman is not one who lets herself be controlled, but one who understands how to bring harmony, warmth, and emotional stability into a relationship. She knows how to challenge a man without belittling him, how to express her needs without manipulation, and how to stand firm in her values without aggression. The women who pass this test effortlessly attract high-value men. They do not need to chase, beg, or demand respect. It is given to them because they radiate a combination of softness and strength. Men are instinctively drawn to them, not just for their beauty, but for the energy they bring into a man's. A man does not stay loyal to a woman simply because she looks good. He stays when he feels deeply respected and emotionally safe in her presence. And a woman who masters both femininity and strength creates a dynamic that men find irresistible and unforgettable. A man will test your consistency, not just in your words, but in your actions over time. Why? Because consistency is the foundation of trust. A man needs to know that the woman he is investing in today will be the same woman he can rely on tomorrow, next month, and years down the road. In a world where many people change their behavior depending on circumstances, moods, or external validation, consistency is a rare and powerful trait that sets high-value women apart. Men are highly observant when it comes to consistency, even if they don't openly express it. They pay attention to whether your values, attitudes, and behaviors remain steady or shift depending on who you're around, how you're feeling, or what benefits you in the moment. If you present yourself as a kind, supportive, and loyal partner, but suddenly change when things become inconvenient or when emotions run high, a man notices. If you claim to be a woman of integrity, but your actions contradict your words, a man remembers. This test plays out in many ways. A man might observe how you handle stress. Do you remain composed, or do you let emotions dictate your actions? He might notice how you treat him when you're happy versus when you're upset. Do you still show respect, or do you resort to insults and manipulation? He will also take note of how you treat others when no one is watching. Are you genuinely kind, or do you only act that way when it benefits you? The way you consistently carry yourself speaks louder than any promise you make. Many women fail this test because they underestimate how much consistency matters. They start strong in the relationship, putting in effort, being supportive, and showing their best selves. But over time, their actions become unpredictable. One day, they are affectionate. The next, they are distant. One moment, they claim to respect their partner. The next, they undermine him in front of. This kind of instability makes a man hesitant to fully commit because deep down, men seek reliability in a woman they want to build a future with. On the other hand, the women who pass this test prove their consistency in both the small and big moments. They don't change their values based on convenience. They don't treat their man differently in private versus in public. They don't make empty promises. They follow through. When they say they support him, they mean it, even when it's difficult. When they express loyalty, it's not just when things are good, but also when challenges arise. Consistency builds trust, and trust builds deep commitment. A man who sees that a woman is emotionally stable, reliable, and unwavering in her character begins to feel safe with her, not just physically, but emotionally. And this kind of trust is what leads to true partnership, the kind that stands the test of time. A woman who is consistent in her respect, love, and integrity doesn't need to prove her worth. It speaks for itself. And when a man finds a woman like that, he doesn't just appreciate her, he cherishes her. Because in a world of uncertainty, a woman who remains steady in her values is priceless. Consistency is what separates a fleeting attraction from a lasting relationship. A man may be initially drawn to your beauty, charm, or intelligence, but if your behavior is unpredictable or unreliable, he will hesitate to invest deeply. The reason is simple: inconsistency breeds doubt. A man who is serious about building a life with someone needs to know that the woman he chooses will remain true to her character, regardless of external circumstances. One of the most common ways men test consistency is through time. Early in a relationship, everything feels exciting. Both partners put in effort, communicate frequently, and show their best selves. But what happens after a few months? Does the effort fade? Do moods start dictating interactions? Does the support and kindness shown in the beginning turn into criticism and emotional distance? A man observes these shifts carefully. If he sees that a woman's behavior depends on whether she is in a good mood, whether things are going her way, or whether she is receiving attention, he starts to question whether he can rely on her in the long run. Another area where consistency is tested is integrity. A man watches whether your words and actions align. If you say you value honesty, do you practice it even when it's uncomfortable? If you say you want respect, do you also give it, especially in moments of disagreement? Many women fail this test by making statements about their values, but contradicting them in their actions. A woman might say she desires a loyal partner, but then flirts with other men when she feels ignored. She might claim to support her man's goals, but then belittle his ambitions when things don't move fast enough. These inconsistencies create confusion. Men also test consistency through adversity. How does a woman behave when life throws challenges their way? If the man faces financial difficulties, career setbacks, or personal struggles, does she remain patient and supportive, or does she pull away when things get tough? A woman who stands by her partner during difficult times shows that she is not just there for the good moments, but for the journey as a whole. This kind of consistency builds a level of trust that is nearly impossible to break. But consistency is not just about handling difficulties. It is also about maintaining effort and appreciation over time. Many relationships suffer because the effort that was abundant in the beginning disappears once comfort sets in. The little things, showing appreciation, making time for each other, speaking with kindness, start to fade. A man notices when a woman stops putting in effort just as much as he notices when she remains engaged and attentive. A woman who continuously nurtures the relationship even after years proves her emotional maturity and commitment. Passing this test means showing up the same way, regardless of changing circumstances. It means treating your partner with respect whether you are happy or frustrated, whether life is easy or difficult. It means practicing the values you claim to hold, not just when it's convenient, but when it truly matters. Men don't commit to women who are perfect. They commit to women who are consistent. A woman who shows reliability in her emotions, her support, and her character earns a level of trust that is unshakable. And when a man finds this in a woman, he doesn't just choose her. He values her in a way that lasts a lifetime. Men don't test women to play games. They test them because they're searching for something real. They want strength, loyalty, integrity, someone who won't fold under pressure. Past these tests, you gain a man's deepest respect.
Yeah.
And in this world, that is a rare and powerful thing.